Hola amigos, ¿cómo están? Espero que estén súper bien. Hoy estaremos hablando de cómo entender a los hispanohablantes que hablan bien rápido. Did you understand that? Probably not, because I was speaking fast. So today we're going to talk about how to understand fast Spanish speakers. Let's get into it. First off, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a big thumbs up and also subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. The first step to understanding Spanish speakers, even when they speak fast, is to get the alphabet down. More specifically, the vowel sounds. A, E, I, O, U. If you get those sounds down, it's going to be much easier for you to understand native Spanish speakers because you'll be listening to and hearing those sounds. Also, it's really going to help your accent sound much more native. Step 2 is to learn new vocabulary. Of course, you're not going to be able to understand native Spanish speakers if you don't have a decent vocabulary. Now, of course, your vocabulary will build up over time, but if you want to speed up that learning process, then I highly recommend you start using flashcards. When I was learning Spanish, I would literally just do 3x5 cards, one word on one side and one on the other, and I would do this every week, anywhere from 50 to 100 new words and phrases a week. So you could do it the old school way, right? You could write down flashcards. You could do Anki, right? A great digital option there, which uses a spaced repetition technology, really fantastic. You can also use Quizlet, also the free app Spanish Dict. Anytime that you go in and type and translate a new word, you can actually add it to a flashcard list, and they already have built-in flashcard lists. But study vocabulary, that will really help you. The third step is to practice listening. How often are you actually listening to Spanish? Every day, every other day, once a week? I highly recommend that you start listening to music in Spanish. I always say it in these videos, but it is by far the easiest and most passive way to learn Spanish. If you can constantly be absorbing the language, you're going to be able to much easier understand native Spanish speakers. Now your brain will be trained to say, right, I know what these sounds are, and I can understand what they're saying to me. You can also watch movies, TV shows, listen to podcasts, and of course, practice your listening when you're having real conversations with people. Step 4 is to have conversations with people. It always surprises me how often Spanish students are learning Spanish, but they never actually speak the language. Find people in your social circle who speak Spanish. See if your friends have family members or friends who speak Spanish. Meet people online on apps like Tandem, Hello Talk, Conversation Exchange. You can do Omegle, but just be careful. Any way that you can meet people online and speak Spanish with them, please do it. You need to have conversations if you want to improve not only your ability to understand Spanish speakers, but to be able to speak the language confidently. Step 5 is to ask people what they're saying. If you're struggling to understand what someone is saying to you, instead of just smiling and saying, sí, better to say, sorry, I didn't understand you. Could you say that again? Perdón, no te entendí. ¿Podrías repetir eso, por favor? Sorry, I didn't understand that. Could you please repeat that? Or más despacio, por favor. Slower, please. No entiendo. Otra vez. I don't understand. Say it again, okay? Ask for clarification. Don't be afraid to ask. So many times our ego and our fear of being embarrassed and making mistakes holds us back from learning Spanish and improving and understanding what people are saying. Don't be embarrassed to ask someone or interrupt someone if you're totally lost in a conversation. Ask for clarification. Are you tired of just being able to say, una cerveza, por favor? Are you tired of watching Nacho Libre and thinking, man, I wish I could speak Spanish? Well, you don't have to be that person anymore because I can teach you how to speak fluent Spanish at my website, SpanishWithNate.com. So if you want to learn Spanish with a handsome, strappy young gringo just like me, then check it out. Step 6 is to use context clues. See the person's body language. If they're pointing to something, their tone. Try to find key words that you're familiar with if you get lost within the conversation, okay? Context clues are everything when learning Spanish, okay? So I'll say it again. Context clues are everything. They are so important, okay? Look for those key vocabulary words. If you want, when you're studying and learning new vocabulary, you can literally go online and look up the 1,000 most common words in Spanish, and you'll get a list of them, 1 through 1,000, and you can study those words because by studying the 20% of the most important things of the language, you'll be able to understand and say 80% of the things that you'd like to say. Step 7, kind of like we talked about before, is to practice speaking, okay? Have conversations with people or practice speaking to yourself. Read out loud if you're reading a book. Sing song lyrics. Any way that you can verbalize the language is really going to help you easier understand people when they speak to you. And finally, the last step is to be patient. So often students come to me and say, Nate, I don't understand Spanish because they speak so fast. But I say, hey, look, maybe you haven't been learning that long. Maybe you haven't been speaking with people. Maybe you haven't been listening to the language a whole lot. As long as you show up every day, right? Practice makes perfect. You be consistent, you're patient, and you keep listening, speaking, and studying, you're going to be well on your way to easier understanding native Spanish speakers. Bueno, eso es todo. Espero que te haya gustado este video. Déjame saber en los comentarios si tienes una pregunta, una duda, si necesitas que yo aclare algo. Yo siempre estoy aquí para ayudarte. Bueno, muchas gracias por ver este video. If you want to learn more Spanish with me, you can go to my website, SpanishWithNate.com, where I have my Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy, and I have a brand new membership where you can join for as little as $5 a month to have conversations with me in Spanish every single month. Bueno, muchas gracias de nuevo. Espero que tengas muy bonito día y cuídate mucho. Adiós.